What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about Opendoor. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what's moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Opendoor's up 3.01%, 778 the low, 841 the high, and a lot of volume. So 91.5 million shares being traded, 132 is the average. Quite the volatile day. So for those of you that are kind of swing traders or day traders, this has been a dream come true. You can pretty much make a solid amount of money just by kind of just today. But nonetheless, the market generally is pulling back because of negative data. So you did have ADP employment, the weekly, coming in at negative 11,000. So that's another sign of cracking coming from a consumer standpoint. Although, because of this negative data, now we have a stronger likelihood of a cut for the upcoming December 10th meeting. So currently, a 67.4% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. This is up from about 62.4 yesterday. So all in all, negative labor data is somewhat good for the market, or at least for rate cuts. Market's kind of freaking out a little bit. One thing as well, though, that did come out was Basent mentioning early this morning that there has been a gigantic drop in mortgage rates. So that's generally as well fairly good for what Opendoor does. So that's kind of some of the things that's really affecting the broader market. And Opendoor today, no official news, no SEC filings or anything. A lot of people very hyped up because of this right here. So I've already done a video all about this, what Kaz mentioned, how he and his family is going to be buying roughly around 1 million at the open. So a lot of people are assuming that a Form 4 is going to be submitted today. Just be aware that technically companies have, I think it's like a 2 business day grace period in order for them to submit it. That's as of the transaction date. And that's technically even if Kaz does buy, because he does say that his family. So if his family does buy, I don't know if he's married or whoever, obviously he's meaning for family, but technically no Form 4 has to be done for them, only him. So a lot of people are going to be waiting at the edge of their seat for some Form 4s just for some sort of proof. One thing that did come out recently though from Opendoor was saying that Kaz's social medias, so Twitter and whatever else, they are considered official. So by him saying that, technically him and his family are going to be buying 1 million at the open. That is as good as official PR. So if he doesn't, then technically, yeah, Opendoor can get sued by incorrectly stating information. So I don't think that Kaz would be lying. Just I've a weird feeling that if people don't see a Form 4 by the end of business day today, there's going to be a lot of people freaking out. So just be aware of that. So if he does buy, just for transparency, there will be a Form 4, but it can be submitted anywhere within 2 days. So just somewhat keeping that in mind. Aside from that, though, 22.6% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 162 million shares. So far, shorts aren't doing anything today, which is rather odd. I was kind of anticipating them to do something, but even generally over the last, since pretty much October the 10th, so a solid month, they've been doing absolutely nothing. And you can see that from this line right here. So kind of interesting stuff. Looking at the options, 17 million in calls, 2.4 in puts, and then 48% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. And I'm sure some of that is just piggybacking off of the kind of negativity in the market. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be above, kind of between that $9 to $10 range. So a lot of push higher is still on the table. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub 750. So a little bit more of a battle. And most likely this is where you will have a lot more of this type of price action over the next couple of trading days. So again, for those of you that are kind of day traders, Opendoor might be one to really watch. But aside from that, these are some of the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So 4.8 million, 2.4, 1.3. So those are some of the big ones that did occur today. Dark pool, these are it. So these are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool. So you had a 1.06 million that was done at 818 and then 1.02. So technically, I don't know how Kaz is going to be doing that transaction, whether it's just buying directly from the company resulting in dilution, or if he's going to go use his personal broker and buy stock. If he does actually go to and just buy a stock in the open market, technically one of these could be him, and even the dark pool transaction, right? Because a lot of larger transactions are redirected to the dark pool. So this one done at 818 could be him, 1.06 million, so 132 and change thousand shares. Everything that is on here on the secondary market doesn't really meet that criteria. So you have 653,000, 1.32, 2.4, so a little bit higher. So in my opinion, potentially one of these two transactions could be him. So I don't know, let me know your thoughts on that. The only negative side about the dark pool is it's anonymous, so we won't really be finding out unless there is that form 4 within the 2 business days. Aside from that, with it at 820, just looking at the 4 hour right now, just for some good support and resistance points, 807 is going to be a strong support, followed by 748, and then flip side 904 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. There was one new rating that did come out. So in my earlier video yesterday, I did bring up how there was these 2 $8 ratings. So both buys, Mizuho, JP Morgan, and these are the analyst ratings, success ratings. So 55% for JPM, and then for Mizuho 64%. Then you had that $2 sell. You also had BTIG, a hold rating, no price target given, and then Jake has a 51% success rating. As a consensus, 494 is that price target, representing a 39.2% downside. So analysts still kind of hit and miss, but definitely a lot more optimism is starting to come in. So let me know your thoughts on Opendoor in the comments below. On a side note, if you want access to all of this information, ownership, forecast, everything under the sun, take a look at iBuyer, all completely free. So link in the description below and also the comments. Latest 13Fs on a side note did show quarter over quarter a change of 1.89%, and that's from institutions. I've already kind of vaguely brought that up in the past on how BlackRock and a couple others did buy, so definitely good to see. Aside from that though, on the actual chart, it's looking pretty good. I think prior to November the 7th, things were looking a little bit kind of grim, right? Things were kind of consolidating, so we're having that nice V-shaped recovery, and because of everything right now, we are above both the 50, which is generally a very big deal for momentum stocks, as well as above that 10-day moving average. So things are looking pretty a-okay. Aside from that though, you don't really have that much in articles really coming out. You have Bazinga just highlighting pretty much their last earnings. Nothing too crazy if you ask me. Looking at the flow though, you see a lot of algorithmic trading. So AI is really kind of moving Opendoor quite significantly today. So let me know your thoughts on Opendoor. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you generally doing with Opendoor? And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. So I do put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades as well. So definitely worthwhile to kind of check that out. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.